Well, today we're going to talk about working with a mean girl. Hi, I'm Laura Hill, and welcome back to my channel, Smart Women, Smart Conversations, a place for women to grab a cup of coffee. Today I've got a cute mug from a friend that says, sometimes you forget you're awesome. So this is your reminder. Great way to start the day. But this is a place where you can grab a cup of coffee and just sit back for a few minutes, and we'll talk about the issues that are important to you and the issues that affect women day in and day out. So I posted a YouTube a week and a half ago, and it's got a little over 6,000 views. And it's about getting to the age where you say, I'm done with the mean girl stuff. And I think as we get older and hopefully wiser, we realize the value of time. And there comes a point where you say to yourself, I can only invest so much in this situation. But a lot of the women that commented on the video commented, and I really appreciate them sharing their stories of working with difficult women in the workplace. So first, let me make something clear. There is a big difference between a mean girl. As I've said before, mean girls have malicious intent. And then there's a woman who is just difficult. Maybe they're very ambitious. Maybe they're pushy. All of those, words we use to, kind of describe someone who just at the end of the day aggravates us. And understand that a lot of that is just oil and vinegar. We're not made to work together perfectly. We're not all a perfect match. So when we talk about the workplace and working with someone who is difficult, maybe someone who even rises to the level of being mean, kind of keep that in the back of your mind, because it's really important to differentiate, because you'll handle the two situations differently. So again, mean girls have malicious intent. So that's when you work with someone who seems to enjoy booby trapping other people. Maybe it's spreading gossip, and they usually aren't too overt about it. It's always this question, I just heard something. I'm sure it's not true, but did you hear that Mary did X, Y, or Z? That innuendo that it couldn't be true. But they're the people, and you have to watch them, because a lot of mean girls love to be in the middle of the drama. Okay, they want to know all the scoop. And sometimes you'll find yourself getting chummy with someone who really just wants to know the tea. They're using you. They have no intention of connecting with you, of being a colleague, someone that supports you, someone that you can go to. They want information. So number one, be very, very cautious when you get involved with other women in the workplace. Just be careful. Most women are fabulous. Most women, I think, really want to lift other women up. But the women that don't have learned how to play the game, and you have to be really careful to protect yourself. Now, it's obviously different if you're the boss or are you a coworker. I had something happen, about a year and a half ago. I own a business. It's a small business, but we have about 7, 8 people that work in the office. And I've noticed really longer than I care to admit that one of the women in the office was always at odds with one of the other women. And I'll be honest with you, I chose to not really pay attention because she did her job. And honestly, she did a really good job for me. But the more I stood back, the more I thought to myself, something's not right here. I had to make a decision. Is this about me and having someone who's in the job, who does it exactly how I want it to be? Yeah, she had her idiosyncrasies, and no, I wouldn't necessarily want to go out to lunch with her, but she didn't really aggravate me. Well, why not? Because the power dynamic was completely different. But everyone else who was on her level, who worked with her in the office, was really frustrated by this woman. And quite honestly, This woman did, as I look back on it, always try to put something in my ear about someone in the office. And she'd always come in and say, you know, if this happened, you wouldn't be happy with that, or you would think that went against policy. And she was just trying to get me to take the bait. Now, I didn't take the bait because, again, I knew what I was dealing with. And one of the best things you can do in any office situation is know what you're dealing with. And you only do that by keeping quiet and watching. Whenever you go into a new job, whenever a new coworker comes into the office, don't be afraid to just stand back and watch for a while. You know, obviously, you're going to do the normal niceties, but find out what you're dealing with. Watch the person in meetings and group settings. Make sure that you're not getting caught up in part of their drama by gathering around the so-called water fountain or in the kitchen and chit-chatting over a cup of coffee about someone else in the office. That's a red flag. But as women, you know, we're always looking for that emotional connection. So I have found that one of the hardest things for me to deal with in the workplace is I want to be included in the conversation. I want to hear the talk. I want to hear the chit chat. And occasionally I'll get myself in a situation where the conversation really isn't anything that I want to be a part of. And there's part of me that wants the scoop and the gossip. That's totally normal. And there's part of me that knows better. Now, what do you do when your boss is the mean girl? A lot of it is the power dynamic, right? Where are you in the food chain? When your boss is difficult, you have to make a decision. Number one, is it worth it? Are they a mean girl, or are they just a hard driving, ambitious woman? That could be completely different things. If they have a good heart, if they are task oriented, if they give credit where credit is due, you're not dealing with a mean girl. So again, I go back to that idea of sitting back and listening. Don't be afraid to be quiet. Your first meeting in a new job, you don't have to be the one raising your hand constantly. You don't need to be the one asking questions constantly. What you need to be doing is studying who else is at the table and how does everyone interact with each other. And pick out people who you feel have your style. And those are the people you go to with your questions, and those are the people you go to with guidance. Also watch who the difficult boss seems to have good rapport with, and study that person. Watch how they talk, watch how they act. Yes, even watch how they dress. Everybody's got their type, and that type transitions right into the workplace, just like it does out in the real world when we're making friends. What do you do when you discover that you are in the middle of a mean girl mess? Someone who is trying to stir up trouble, someone who is making things difficult. I've never been a tattletale. I've always, probably to my detriment, I've always steered clear to the point of people thinking that I wasn't friendly or that I was unapproachable. But usually when I get that way, it's because I don't want to get involved with that person. Because quite frankly, maybe I've decided I just don't like them. If you feel you're in a job where there's a future for you, then you have to learn how to deal with that person. Again, don't give them any personal information. Don't go out for a drink after work. Don't go out one-on-one for lunch. Yes, you want to have a relationship with the people in your office, but you want to have a working relationship. And women just get so caught up in wanting everyone they meet to be their friend. The workplace is not a place to make good friends. It never ends well because a lot of women seem attracted to drama like a moth to a light. So know what you're getting into before you make the decision to get into it. I hope that was helpful. One of the women made a comment, oh my gosh, it just kind of gave me chills. And she said she was so happy at work right now because the mean girl was out on maternity leave. You don't want to be the girl that everyone is glad when you're not around. And quite honestly, when we walk into a group situation, especially a group situation with other women, we can tell. We can tell by the looks, we can tell by the smiles, we can tell by the body language if people are genuinely happy to see us. And if you're someone who's getting a weird vibe when you walk into a room, first and foremost, if these are coworkers who you enjoy, then take a look inward. I hope this helps. It's tough to work with a mean girl, but together we can navigate it. I look forward to hearing what else that you'd like to talk about. Have a great week, and I hope you'll click, like, and subscribe, and listen to some of my other videos. Take care. Bye-bye.